Welcome to the RGLT Economics. Today I want to comment on what I perceive as misunderstandings and misapplications of realism in explaining current affairs. I'm certainly not an expert in international relations. Nevertheless, I've studied game theory and some social sciences, so I know that in social sciences there are two types of theories. There are normative theories and there are descriptive theories. Normative theories prescribe how things should be, and descriptive theories describe or explain why things are how they are. As far as I can see, most theories in international relations, certainly including realism, are normative theories. They have a list of assumptions, and deriving from this list of assumptions, you have the axioms. And with the assumptions and axioms, you can then, using logical deduction, further derive theorems. And this builds the entire theoretical framework or structure of this theory. This type of normative theory is good. Let's say in the case of realism, it is good to guide actions. Say if you are the leader of a country, you are a realist, then your decisions, your actions should follow a certain path so as to maximize the interest of your country. This is not so much. It's not really to be used to explain the actions of a country, because to do so would make the further assumption that is certainly never made in the theoretical framework that the country is run by a realist, that the countries are realists. That certainly is not part of the theory. And as far as I can see, using this type of normative theories in international relations to explain the behavior of countries is even more dangerous, even more erroneous than using game theories or microeconomics to explain those type of normative theories to explain individual behavior. Because underpinning the game theories and a lot of theories in microeconomics is the belief, or the assumption, not belief, the assumption that people are self-interested, that they are somewhat rational. I think you could, at least in a lot of the situations, you can expect people to be self-interested. In economics, in particular, you can expect people to want to make more money. All right. And you can expect people to be somewhat rational. If given a choice of making $100 and making $10, everything else being equal, you know that the guy probably will choose $100. That's simply part of his rationality. And we can make that kind of simple assumptions, and therefore using normative theories in economics, in game theory, to explain individual behavior is not always so dangerous. Sometimes it is dangerous, but not always so erroneous. But on the national level or international level, you can't use these normative theories to explain behavior. You have to wonder whether people are realists, and if they are realists, whether their interests, the interests of the political leaders, are fully aligned with the interests of the nations. And those are assumptions that are even beyond the assumptions that you would make using game theory or microeconomics to explain individual behavior. That's so it is really dangerous. That's basically is what I want to say today. But I want to use an example to illustrate 3 levels of mistakes that people, I think intentionally so, misapply realism to explain current affairs. Now this is based on an example I think is a propaganda piece by someone. I don't know where that guy is coming from. I don't really care. It's a video that was recommended to me by a video site, but I think this guy has somewhat of a German accent, I think. Nevertheless, in this example, he made this video explaining that Russia must not have invaded Ukraine because of anything related to NATO. And his reasoning is that after this war, Ukraine will, whether Ukraine is fully occupied or partially occupied by Russia, it will still be aligned with NATO, and so Russia will still have a NATO on its borders. Worse, Sweden and Finland will have joined NATO, and so the situation with regards to NATO is worse for Russia. Now, it must not be that the Russians started this war or invasion because of anything related to NATO, because otherwise, why would they? This type of reasoning is wrong on 3 levels. Number 1, you can't use. Of course, he says that this is from a realist point of view. And that's why it's and he invokes realism in and out. That's why this is disingenuous. He makes it sounds like the countries, Russia in particular, in this case, is trying to maximize its interest, and since it's trying to maximize its interest, it cannot be invading because you see that it's not its interest with regards to NATO is not maximized in this case. Well, this is disingenuous. It's wrong on 3 levels. 1, you can't use a normative theory. You apply normative theories ex post. You can only apply it ex ante. That is, 2 years ago, would it be somewhat rational or part of? No, let me rephrase this. 2 years ago, a Russian leader, would they consider invading Ukraine, if he's a realist, of course, as a way of curbing this NATO issue, not knowing what's going to happen? I think it is possible indeed. You can because maybe the Russian leader thought that he would force a quick political concession from Ukraine and thereby making Ukraine neutral. That creates a buffer zone between NATO and Russia, and he did not expect that Sweden and Finland would join NATO, and thereby actually ex ante, perhaps it is a realist position to invade Ukraine. You can't say now with the knowledge that's after the event, the ex post conditions, you then apply realism. That's not how this type of normative theory should be used to explain events, right? You can't backtrace what people knew before at that point. The second problem with this is that it's basically assuming that the Russians are realists. Why do you make this assumption? Especially since it appears to me that a lot of the rhetoric, at least coming out of the West, are not realists. They are idealists, which is fine. I mean, a lot of people now malign idealism. I think it's not necessarily a bad thing. Idealism, liberalism. Some of them they perceive a world. They prescribe a world that is less brutal, that is less militaristic than realism. I think they are perhaps even better alternatives, better normative theories. If more countries subscribe to those theories, sometimes perhaps we have a more peaceful world, a better economic prosperity. I don't want to see the world as the zoo, or perhaps the wilderness, the Wild West. But that's essentially what realism does. So you can't make the assumption that the Russians are realists. Maybe they are not. And third and finally, you can't separate this NATO issue from the entirety of the issue, because in realism, or in any political theory, but in realism in particular, because in realism you want to maximize your own interest, you can't alienate this issue and analyze it in a vacuum. NATO perhaps is an important element in this, but perhaps the interest in Russia's interest was to make more money, to create a peaceful environment, and so its interest includes providing some border stability, but it may not be the only issue, and perhaps only by combining other issues holistically you can understand the motive behind it. So you can't say that maybe invading Ukraine is in itself was not a good thing, but taken together, maybe Russia gains more. Who knows? We don't know, and the point here is that there are many dangers in applying or using normative theories to explain current affairs. And so next time you hear someone using this type of reasoning, whether it's game theory or realism or whatever, to explain the behavior of nations on the international stage, always be careful. Understand first whether these are normative theories, and understand whether these theories are applied ex ante or ex post, and understand are there any boundaries to these theories? Are there any assumptions to these theories that are not actually made or are made in additional to what is already in the theoretical framework by the people making these analysis? And sometimes and oftentimes when people can't find emotional arguments, when people can't use facts, they want to go into this logical argument, and they want to misapply theories in order to provide some type of argument, to build some type of argument. It's very important to distinguish that and protect yourself from this type of disinformation. Thank you.